Pro cycling and bike racing in general have a few hidden unknowns. Here are some of the bare truths of bike racing. The races are easy. Of course, not the entire race, but there are many kilometers raced each year at the bike racing equivalent of walking pace. This does not apply to all races, logically, but many races throughout a pro calendar will have hours and hours of just turning the pedals at exertion that really is not dissimilar to going for a walk. How you then feel when the racing kicks off properly after this period is crucial. You should never let yourself go to sleep completely. The old thought was, why would you race before the live cameras came out? This is a tradition that is slowly transforming as the years go on. Races are now raced from much further out from the finish than they were before, and the base tempo throughout a race is nowadays much higher than it ever has been as well. The hotels are not at all glamorous. Sure, the UAE tour really isn't bad. In fact, most would say it's amazing. But this simply is not the case for the majority of bike races. Bike races in France traditionally reserve the worst hotels you can imagine, and often they will even book an entire race into an agricultural college just to keep costs down. Once upon a time, we stayed in a police academy in South Korea. It was far from glamorous, but we did have electric toilet seats. You don't get those everywhere. You can hardly blame an organisation for doing this, but coming back to a freezing cold, or actually even worse, is a boiling hot shared accommodation. This just adds to the fatigue of a bike race. And you can completely forget the Wi-Fi ever working. Some of the world's greatest bike races finish in the dullest of locations. The reason for this is often the gradient of the road or the availability of good parking nearby. Hundreds and hundreds of vehicles cram into a tiny space around a bike race, so being romantic about the finish line location just isn't always possible. In fact, I bet if you asked most pros to describe their favourite finish location, they would describe something from a much smaller event than that they are now accustomed to riding. Organisers do a fantastic job of dressing up the finish area with billboards, barriers, gantries and the like, but strip all of that back and the finish line to some of the world's biggest bike races is nothing more than a white line across some grey asphalt next to an industrial estate. Cycling is unequivocally a team sport. To many outsiders, this is simply baffling. But picture a football field where all of the players just tried to score goals and didn't support each other in doing so. Every rider has their own strengths. Some don't like the pressure of performing, and they would prefer to play a backup role to their teammates. And some riders, such as the sprinters, they simply couldn't win without the support of a team around them. Teamwork in cycling is all about saving energy, protecting others from the wind resistance, supporting with sustenance, and aiding positioning within the bunch. They also really motivate each other and can really help one another progress and push their limits within the sport. Winning is the best feeling that you can imagine. It is unrivaled. Nothing on earth can compete with it. You spend months and months, if not years, training and dreaming of the moment that you can cross the finish line first. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of suffering are behind every single win you see in the world of professional cycling. And that is part of what makes the emotion of winning just so great. No matter how successful a rider is, across the duration of an entire career, they will win far fewer races than they don't. This is a simple fact, and it certainly adds to the occasion when it does happen. That moment of pure celebration as it dawns on you that you've won. There is nothing like it. If you think that the bunch of a bike race looks big, consider the car park at the finish. Keep in mind that there can be 2 to 3 times the amount of staff behind the scenes, and it is not uncommon for a support team to completely outnumber the riders. Riders need mechanics, drivers, soigneurs, coaches, doctors. The rolling caravan behind a professional cycling team is huge. Crowds, and in particular children screaming on the side of the road, can genuinely be louder than a nightclub. The atmosphere around the world's biggest races is truly spectacular, but nothing quite prepares you for the first time you experience the roar of a crowd alongside the road. It can leave you with your ears ringing long past the end of the stage, and it truly gives you a buzz that you've never experienced before. This is one of the greatest things about cycling. The fans are within touching distance of you most of the time. All you need to do is turn up to your favourite race, choose a spot to cheer your favourite riders on. Probably not best to actually touch them though. Crashing doesn't hurt. for about 15 seconds, and then it is pure agony. Depending on how much skin you may or may not have lost, if you're suffering severe gravel rash, then a good scrubbing with a brush is going to be needed. And then come the bandages. These are cumbersome, they're limiting to movement, but they will help your wounds heal. Some riders do sometimes try to go without the dressings, but this rarely ends well. The pain of having the sheets pulled off the next day can be truly excruciating. Instead, flexible moist bandages are applied that help the wounds heal from the inside out. After a couple of weeks, you take them off and all is good. Fans can have unrivaled access to their favourite riders. We touched on this before, but unlike most sports, the world of cycle sport is a travelling circus that will crash land and explode into life at any start or finish town across the world. Not all races start and finish in the same locations each season, meaning that there is an unrivaled chance for different communities to interact with the world of pro cycling. And better yet, fans, spectators, and the public in general can get up close enough to talk to the riders pre and post race. It is access to some of the world's greatest sporting stars that you simply don't get in most other sports. If you are new to cycling and you've learnt a few unexpected truths recently, let us know what they were in the comments down below. Why don't you check out some of our how-to videos over here, but make sure you subscribe over there before you do.